Hello everyone and welcome to day 16. Today we're doing P and that is for plank pose. So that's a really fundamental part in the rest of our sequence. So what I'll just be going through is just some pointers to make sure we're confident in how we're doing it and making sure that's correct and what works for you. So let's get into that. So just coming to the top of the mat, feet together as usual, inhaling up with the hands, palms together, exhale to fold, and stepping back to our plank straight away. Now, from here, let's start with the hands. We want to be focusing on bringing those fingers spread as wide as we can. The thumbs should be somewhat facing each other and index facing forwards, nice and active through all of the fingers. Now, what we're going to do is, again, push into the hands so we bring our shoulders to be nice and active as well. So we're pushing down to the ground like this. So we don't want to be falling down into the ground like this and loading the shoulder joints, instead using your muscles to stay here. Your belly button's towards your spine. You're pushing to the back of the room or behind you with your heels, and you're nice and active through your quadriceps. Now you should get a nice sort of shake here and you'll be able to feel your shoulders working nicely. Perfect. Okay, and last thing is just lengthening through the back of the neck, so we're not sort of looking up like this or looking down. We're just nice and neutral here. Cool. And then stepping forward with both feet, forward fold, inhaling up, palms together, and exhale. Now we come to the start to A. So sun salutation A. Inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back to our plank. Might come down to our knees. Elbows hug our sides as we come to our bellies, and we inhale up to baby cobra. Exhale, back to our downward dog. Now just starting up, you might walk out the dog, bending one knee, really moving the hips around, just settling into how you're feeling today. And looking forward, stepping forward with both of your feet. Inhale as we lengthen to a nice halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, spreading the arms. Looking up at the hands, and exhale down through center. Cool. And then we repeat that again. So inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, stepping back to our plank. Coming forward down to our bellies. Inhale up. You might come to full cobra this time. Exhale, up and back with the hips to our downward dog. Now in this downward dog, I just want to let everyone know what I'd be expecting is your feet are hip width apart rather than together, and you're grounding down through your toes. And looking forward and stepping forward to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, spread the arms. Exhale down through center. B, sun salutation B now. Inhale as we sit back to our chair pose. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back to our plank. Coming down to our bellies. And exhale, inhale to our cobra. And exhale to our downward dog. Inhale is bring that right foot through. Between our hands, left foot pivots out to 45 degrees and we come up to warrior one. Hips facing forward, shoulders facing forward, palms up. Exhale, step back with that foot and we come through our vinyasa. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, back to our downward dog. Same on the left side. So inhale, our left foot comes forward. Pivot on that right foot and just really make sure you can feel the back of the right foot here. Exhale, coming through your vinyasa. Back to our downward dog. Just finding a nice stretch through the back of the hamstrings here. Your shoulders should be doing some work. You're wrapping your triceps underneath to bring your shoulders away from your ears. and your hands are nice and active into the ground and all of your fingers. Maybe just bringing your awareness to each of your fingers and making sure they're nice and active into your mat. And then looking forward and stepping forward with both feet. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to our forward fold. Inhale to our chair. Exhale back to our samasthiti. Now we'll repeat sun salutation B. So inhale to chair. Exhale to fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back to our plank. Coming forward onto our hands. And exhale to come down. Inhale, full cobra. Looking up to the sky. And exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right foot comes between your hands gently. Pivot on that back foot. Inhale, palms come up and together. And we can feel the outside edge of our left foot, conscious and contacting the ground. Coming down to our bellies. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, up and back to downward dog. Inhale as bring our left foot forward and through. Pivot on your right to warrior one. Exhale, palms come down to center, to our bellies. Inhale to cobra. Exhale as we come back to our downward dog for a few breaths. Looking forward, stepping both feet forward to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, palms come up and together, and we sit back to our chair pose. Looking up at our hands, and exhale, relaxing your palms down to your side. That's our wee warm up done. As it is a bit colder at the moment, you could do a few more sun salutations and pause the video if you need a bit more warm up. But if not, let's move to C for cat cow pose. So inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, folding down and stepping back to our plank. We let our knees drop and our hands come just below our shoulders here. As we inhale, we tip from the pelvis and we're letting the belly drop to the ground and we're looking up to the sky. We exhale to round to our cat pose, belly button comes to spine. And following that same routine for 4 more breaths in your own time. Really focusing on the movement with the breath. Trying to expand through the ribs with your inhales. Really tuck your tailbone under when you come to that rounded position in cat pose. Meeting back at a nice neutral spine position. Bringing your hands forward, tucking your toes under, coming to our plank, stepping forwards. Inhale, spread those arms nice and actively wide, bring them together above your head, and exhale down through center. Now we come to D for downward dog. Inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold and we step back to our plank. Tailbone comes up and over, and we come to a nice spinal extension here. So aiming for a nice straight line from your hands all the way up to your tailbone here. The main goal of the posture, you can bend your knees as much as you need to get there, and then focus on the dropping of the heels rather than the other way round. And then we'll float back to our plank, stepping forwards, forward fold. Inhale, arms spread nice and wide. Exhale, down through center. E for extended child's pose. Inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold. We step back to our plank and we let those knees drop to the ground. Feet come together, knees come as wide as the mat. Keeping those hips nice and close to the heels there. We creep our hands forward and coming to extended child's pose. Nice and active through your palms. And really just letting your chest just fall to the ground here. It's a really nice heart opener, this posture, as well as hips. Looking forward, knees come together, tuck those toes under and stepping forward to our forward fold. Inhale, spreading the arms, exhale, coming down through centre. Now what we'll do is come to F, forward fold, so we'll heel toe those feet to hip width apart. We'll inhale up with the palms together and we'll exhale to hinge from the hips and slowly roll down. Chest is coming towards your shins and you can bend your knees if you need to. Hands rest gently on the ground, or if you find it more comfortable, on the opposite elbows coming into ragdoll here. You should feel a nice stretch up the back of your legs and really trying to make your head heavy, so relaxing the back of your neck. And then we'll inhale, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae, spreading the arms, heel toe those feet in, arms come down through centre, and we come to a nice counter posture, small back bend and standing here. Now we come to G for garland pose, so inhale, palms come up, and exhale as we come down through centre, heel toe those feet nice and wide to the edges of the mat, and sitting back into our nice squat here. Focusing on lengthening the tailbone down to the ground rather than rounding down like this. And extending through the spine to open up through the chest. And looking forwards. If you'd like, you can close down with the eyes. And just notice maybe where you're resisting this posture. And just bring your breath here. Palms come down to the ground. We come to a nice wide-legged forward fold, and then we heel toe those feet inwards. Inhale as we spread the arms, and exhale, we come down through centre. H for happy baby pose. Inhale, our palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold. We step back to our plank and we find our way to our knees, and however it's most comfortable for you, we find our way onto our back. So I like to cross my legs and then rolling down through the spine if that's comfortable, and really trying to notice a nice contact point between your tailbone and your shoulders with the ground here. So we're really relaxed down to the ground, spreading the legs and the knees bending. And then you meet your hands wherever's most comfortable, if you're able to keep your shoulders and tailbone on the ground here. So that might be on the outside of your thighs, shins, or at your ankles here. And then breathing here for a few breaths. And just noticing if your mind's wandering about your to-do list for the day or anything like that, just bring your awareness back to the breath to refocus there. And gently letting go of the legs. We'll find our way back to plank posture now, stepping back with the feet, meeting at the top of the mat, in our forward fold position. Inhale, spreading the arms, meeting at the top, and exhale down. We come to I for inhale. So just opening up the palms, only with the chest, and closing down with the eyes for 5 nice deep inhales here. You might experiment with the Ujjayi breath, which is when you're imagining you're fogging up a mirror with your breath, and you're doing that through your nose. So you sort of sound like you're growling. Just opening up with the eyelids there, and we'll come to J for Janusasana now. So inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold over to our forward fold, and we step back to our plank. Knees drop down, and we find our way into Dandasana, a high sitting position. We're nice and active through our quads here, so we're trying to imagine there's a $100 note underneath your kneecaps here, and you're just squeezing to not let that go in the wind. That helps me remember it anyway. Bring that left foot in towards your groin, arms come up and over, and then we exhale as we lengthen towards our toes here with our hands, or they might just be resting here or here. Our main focus is we're hinging from the hips rather than rounding through the lower spine. And we're nice and active with that right quadricep. Imagine we're stopping the money floating out over there. And when you're ready, changing legs, bring the right foot in towards the groin, inhale up and exhale to fold. Maybe noticing one side is slightly tighter than the other, just being with that, it's normal. Bring both feet out in front of us now. Maybe give the knees a little bit of a wobble up and down. Then finding a way back to our plank position. Stepping both feet forward to our forward fold. Inhale up, palms spread. Exhale down through centre. Now we come to K for kneeling with toes tucked. So inhale, palms come up. Exhale, we fold and stepping back. Knees drop, toes tuck under, and we creep our hands back towards the top of our thighs, and we're just sitting back to our heels. As usual, if that's too much, we can just come to this modification here, and maybe closing down the eyes for a few breaths here. Really become conscious with your belly rising and falling, trying to breathe down into your belly instead of up through your chest and your shoulders. We'll find our way back to our plank, tucking the toes under, lifting up with the knees to our full plank, stepping forward, forward fold, inhaling up, spreading the palms, nice side body stretch, and exhale down through centre. Now we come to L for locust pose. Inhale, palms come up, exhale, we fold, and we step back to our plank, coming down to our bellies. Nose is touching the ground and our palms are facing the sky. We inhale to lengthen, so imagine someone's pulling your head and then someone's also pulling your toes to the back of the room, and then we exhale as we lift. And the equilibrium point is at your hip bones here, so we're not sort of rolling back or forwards, we're nice and equal here. And try to imagine someone's pulling your fingers down towards your feet. And bring your shoulder blades back and together here. You should feel this working your back muscles nicely, as well as your glutes and your quads. down to a resting position. Hands come beside your chest. We push up into our plank position. We step forward to meet at the top of the mat. Inhale from our forward fold. Exhale down through centre. M for mountain pose, so opening up with the palms to the front of the room. Chest comes up and forward. We're nice and active through the toes, our quads, and squeezing our buttock muscles as we tuck under with our tailbone. And just breathing here for 5 breaths. Trying to breathe in and out through the nose if you can. And relaxing, and now we'll come to N for Navasana, boat pose. So inhale, palms come up. Exhale, we fold over and come back to our plank position, and our knees come down. We find our way back to a high sitting position with our knees bent, and from here we will tip back with the upper body, belly button comes to our spine, and when we're ready we lift one leg and then the other leg. Our knees and our feet are squeezing together here, and we're lengthening through the spine, so we don't want any curving here like this. We're balancing on our tailbone. Then our hands can come here as we point the toes and bring our shoulder blades back and together. If you want more of a challenge, you can bring the arms above the head here as well. You should feel a nice shake. And relaxing down, coming back through your plank position to find the top of the mat in a forward fold. Inhale, palms spread. Exhale, coming down. O for one-legged king pigeon. So we inhale up. Exhale, we fold. We step back to our plank, and our hips come up and over to our downward dog. From here, nice equal weight through the hands. We'll lift up with our right heel to the sky, trying to keep our hips nice and level with each other to our three-legged dog, and then we'll bring our knee and foot through to our one-legged king pigeon. So here, ideally, we want this heel to be in line with that knee. If that's a bit strong for you, just bring that heel back. And the hands are just resting on the mat in the front. Or if you want a bit more of a stretch, you can come down onto your elbows. And tucking the back toe under, back to our three-legged dog with our right leg. Come back to our downward dog, a nice neutral position here. Then lifting up with that left heel, really noticing if your hips want to sort of tip into this. We want to keep them nice and level. And then bring your knee and heel through again. And just breathing into this posture. Now just notice your back foot. You'll probably want to sort of rotate out or in. So just keeping your top of your foot nice and active into the ground and conscious where your heel is. Should be facing the sky. And just relaxing through your chest and your shoulders as well. You'll find a lot of different areas of your body will try and compensate to sort of resist the movement. So that's just where the ability to stay present comes into it. Tucking that back toe under, lifting up with the left heel. Coming back to our downward dog. Then we shift forward into our plank. Stepping forward, forward fold. Inhale, palms spread. Exhale down through centre, and we come to today's posture, P for plank. So inhale, palms come up and together. Exhale, we fold and come back to our plank position. Straight away here, we want to notice our hands are nice and active into the ground, pushing away at the mat to make our shoulders nice and active. Our belly button comes towards our spine. We squeeze our glute muscles. We squeeze our quad muscles, bringing the kneecap upwards. We push our heels back to the back of the room, and our toes are also nice and active here. And we want to lengthen through the head, through the back of the neck. here as well, and just focus on our breath. If this is too much, you can just come down into the knees here. We will step forward, meeting at the top of the mat in our forward fold. Inhale, spread the palms, looking up at the hands for a nice side body stretch, and exhale, we come down through centre. And we're all done for today. Tomorrow we'll be back for Q.